Okay, this is the pre-lab for Lab 2. As you can see, the purpose is to become familiar with the lab expectations for physics, but more importantly here to understand the differences between 5 of the most basic kinematics terms: distance, displacement, speed, velocity, and to a lesser extent here acceleration. The 2 equations are given mainly for the average speed and average velocity. Here you'll be doing computations for those. But in general, for all labs, as you can see here, make sure you include units with all measurements. Now when you have a table like we have here, it's already set up for you, but if you need to make your own table in the future, make sure you label the headings. Where I have all these parentheses here, you will be placing the units for that particular concept. And that's a rule for all labs going forward. Follow all the strict rules of sig figs as you make measurements. Get as many significant digits as you can with your measuring device. You'll be measuring distances, displacements with a meter stick or a ruler, and you'll be measuring time with a stopwatch, probably the stopwatch function on your iPad. Make sure you round all your measurements or your computations according to the rules for sig figs. Neatness will count here. So what we'll be doing is splitting you into groups of 2, 3, 4 students, and you'll be starting at a given station. For example, there are 6 stations as listed in the data table here, and I'll show you those stations in a few minutes. But whatever station you start at, for example, you might start at station number 4, the marble on the ramp. You'll stay there until I tell you to rotate, because some stations take a little longer than others, so don't move ahead until you're told to do so. But when you're done, or when I say rotate, if you're at station 4, obviously you'll go to station 5. You'll stay there until I say to rotate, and so on and so forth. You're at station 6, then you will rotate to station 1 eventually, and from then on to the next station. Once you are finished collecting all the data, which will probably take us about a half hour, then you will start answering the questions. If your group is a little faster than others, you can start doing some of the computations, the calculations, like for example analysis question number 1, calculating the average speed and average velocity at the particular station you're at, and maybe looking ahead to some of the questions you'll need to be answering and kind of start thinking about those. There is a backside. You can discuss these as a group. So here's a quick look at the 6 stations with some hints on measuring. Well, station 1 is the Hot Wheels track, which is on the north wall of class, as you can see. You'll need to measure the entire length of this track. So start the car as high as possible at the one end. By the way, use your own meter sticks. They're where they normally are. Make sure they get put away when you're done. And there's some rulers as well in the normal spot. So bring your meter sticks and rulers around with you as you do the measuring. And let the car end at where the track is taped down. Don't push the car down the track. Don't let the car fall off the table. All that kind of stuff. Normal, respectful things with lab equipment. Even though they look like toys, and they are. Have fun with them, but don't abuse them. So in the very back of the room, you have the cart. You'll have one person holding that red cart. I have the weights holding them right now. But you'll hold the cart there. You might need to make, don't make any marks on anything. Don't use your pencil or pen. There are rolls of tape if you want to put tape marks on tables. But don't write on the floor, on the walls with pen or pencil. If you ever need to make marks, put a piece of tape down and then remove the tape when you're done. And once again, don't let this cart roll off the end of the table. There's a pulley with a weight that goes over here. So yeah, the pulley is over here. And there's a weight. Make sure the string is on there, and you'll just release the cart, and it'll roll to the end of the table. Just make sure it doesn't roll off the table. Penny on a turntable. The turntable is what we used to use to play records. I kind of kid around, but most of you probably know what a record is. And later in the year, we'll play actual old vinyl records. So the knob for turning this on and off is right here. And don't change any other settings on this. Leave the speed as it is. We'll talk more about that later. But the speed control is over here. Just leave that alone. Leave all the other controls alone. Just turn it on and off with that white button or white knob right there. And then just beyond the turntable is this ramp. The ramp, it's kind of like the hypotenuse of a triangle. This is the ramp. I don't know if you can see my marking right here. But the marble is at the end. You just roll the marble all the way down the ramp, and once again, not a big deal, but sometimes the marble rolls off and rolls onto the floor, yada, yada, yada. Just don't lose your marbles. Haha. Is the tennis ball near the front of the room, kind of by the clock. I would say, and once again, be careful when you go up and down the ladder. It's a pretty steady ladder, but some of you are tall enough, probably don't even need the ladder. But I would hold the ball near or by this piece of wood in the ceiling here, a little lower, somewhere in there. Hold the ball and then drop it to the floor. Once again, you need to measure that using meter sticks, most likely. Pretty easy. Station 6, there's what's called a tumble buggy. We'll explain to you why it's called a tumble buggy later. But there's a piece of tape on the floor. I would start it there. And there's kind of a line right over here on the floor. And I would just measure, or let the, that would be the finish line for the car. Measure how long it takes to get from the tape to that line. And that's it for the stations. Good luck with the lab, and we'll see you in class.